Have you ever wondered how a simple idea, just a little spark, can grow into a huge global company? Or how a tiny team can create something that literally changes the world? Well, I can tell you, it's not magic. It's a blueprint. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down that very blueprint, the art and science of getting things done.
I mean, really think about that for a second. It doesn't matter if it's a championship sports team, a lab making a huge scientific breakthrough, or even that awesome little coffee shop on your corner. They all have to answer the exact same fundamental question. How in the world do you get a bunch of different people to work together and achieve one single ambitious goal?
Let's be honest, we all have brilliant ideas, right? But how many of them actually see the light of day? That gap between a great idea and a real successful outcome, it's huge. It's messy. It's filled with chaos, miscommunication, and a whole lot of wasted effort. So to get across that gap, you need a system. You need a kind of hidden architecture for success. And guess what? It has a name. Okay, let's dive right in. The word is management. Now, don't let that term fool you. This is not just about being the boss. It's a very deliberate process for turning raw effort into actual results. And the real key is hiding in those two little words you see on the slide, effectively and efficiently. They might sound pretty similar, but they're like the two most important and sometimes competing forces in any project. Nailing both of them, that's the secret sauce.
So here's the crucial difference. Effectiveness is all about choosing the right mountain to climb, doing the right thing. Efficiency, on the other hand, is about climbing that mountain with the least amount of time, money, and energy, doing things right. See, you could be incredibly efficient at a task that doesn't matter at all, which, you guessed it, is not very effective. Great management is the art of mastering both.
And, this isn't some one-and-done setup. Think of it more like an operating system that's just always running in the background. It's continuous because, hey, the world is always changing. It's a group activity because you rarely build amazing things all by yourself. And it's totally universal. These same core principles apply whether you're running a hospital, a tech startup, or even just trying to plan a family vacation. It really is the engine that drives any organized effort toward its goal.
All right, so if management is the system, what are the actual tools? How does it really work on the ground? Well, it turns out there's a kind of universal toolkit, a sequence of functions that every single manager uses to build success.
Now, I know this might look like a simple little list, but this is basically the DNA of every successful project out there. Think about it. You can't organize your resources if you don't even have a plan. You can't lead a team if you haven't found the right people for it, and you definitely can't check your progress if you don't know what you're aiming for in the first place. Each step builds directly on the one before it, creating this powerful cycle that turns ideas into real, tangible action.
This whole system didn't just appear out of thin air. Nope, it was shaped by some truly brilliant thinkers who were trying to figure out the absolute best way to get things done. So let's look at two of the titans of management theory, Henri Fayol and F.W. Taylor. They each gave us a very distinct blueprint for success.
First up, we have Henri Fayol. Now, this guy was a practitioner, an actual mining engineer who worked his way up to become a director. He looked at the whole organization from the top down. For Fayol, the absolute key was harmony, clear lines of authority, and what he called unity of direction. It boils down to this: one goal, one boss, one plan. It's simple, it's powerful, and it's all about that big picture structure.
And then there was F.W. Taylor. He was the scientist. And yeah, this guy might sound like the ultimate micromanager, but his ideas completely reshaped the world. He started right on the factory floor and looked at work from the bottom up. His focus was pure, data-driven efficiency. He actually believed that through scientific study, you could find the one single best way to do any task. It was revolutionary, and it totally changed the game for productivity at the ground level. And this chart just illustrates their different worlds perfectly. So you've got Fayol, the practitioner, up in the executive suite thinking about the big picture of administration. Meanwhile, you've got Taylor, the scientist, down on the factory floor obsessed with boosting production numbers. You can literally see Fayol's legacy in the org charts of today's big corporations, and you can see Taylor's legacy in the hyper-optimized logic of an Amazon warehouse. Two totally different lenses, both trying to find a better way to work.
So, we've looked at the what, the how, and even the who. Let's bring this all home and see exactly why this blueprint, developed more than 100 years ago, is actually more relevant today than ever before.
So here it is, the big takeaway. These principles aren't just for stuffy boardrooms or Fortune 500 companies. They are the invisible architecture of success in pretty much any group effort. I'm serious. From a bunch of friends trying to plan a road trip to a team of scientists working to cure disease, the process is exactly the same. Planning, organizing, leading, this is the fundamental toolkit for turning individual efforts into an amazing collective achievement.
So, the next time you see a team that just works together seamlessly, or a company doing incredible things, you'll know what's going on. You'll be able to see the blueprint right there, underneath it all. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Now that you understand the blueprint for turning vision into reality, what are you going to build?